Hello everybody, in this video I have a scrapbook process to share with you with the Thompson's Craft Supplies design team. I'm using my gorgeous, really gothic kit that Louise sent me a week or so ago. I have a video of that kit if you would like to see it. It mainly features the 13 Arts Victoriana, I think that's what it's called, paper pack, and I started with this particular paper which I think is called Circle of Time. I think it's utterly beautiful. I'm just covering it with a layer of clear gesso there because I knew I was going to throw quite a lot at this page and I didn't want it, well, it does warp a lot, but this prevents it from warping too much and from like your mediums and stuff sinking through the paper. As with most mixed media layouts that I do, or most mixed media projects that I do, I had a very different idea in my head of what I was making to what I end up with. There was a stage where I really disliked what I was doing. I was just like, I'll completely ruin this. I'm gonna have to start, like, I've wasted this paper, etc., etc. But then it all sort of tied together in the end. So I wanted to start off with some embossing because in my kit was this awesome Lindy's embossing powder. I've forgotten the name of the one I have. I think it's Chip Off the Old Black, and it's a mix of really fine bits and chunky bits. And yeah, I just wanted to try it out. The stamps I'm using, there's this sort of distressed damask and then also a Finavere one, which is like a check with a gothic print on. They were both in design team kits from Louise, like, over the years. I will see if she's still got them and link them if she does. But with this embossing powder, so the lovely Shona, a regular viewer and commenter, she left me a comment about that embossing powder saying heat it from behind because all the bits tend to fly everywhere if you don't. Now, I'd already tried it out when I saw that comment, but I always make a habit of getting my heat tool really hot, like having it going for about 20 seconds before I start embossing. So yeah, it's really hot and it just heats straight away. But I thought I'd sort of test out what she said, and yeah, unless you heat it from behind or get your heat tool really hot first, if you just switch it on and put it on the powder straight away, all the bits do blow everywhere. So yes, thanks for the tip, Shona. So yes, I mean, it's a fabulous embossing powder, it really is, but just something to keep in mind if you're going to use it, or any other embossing powder that's got really chunky bits. But the finish is gorgeous. I don't know how well you can see it, but oh my goodness, beautiful. Anyway, moving on. I'm doing embossing with the other stamp in white. I was kind of hoping the embossing would be a bit more patchy than it was, and in hindsight I could have just brushed off some of the powder where the stamp was with a paintbrush or something. I don't know why I didn't do that. So yeah, as I said, I wanted it a bit more patchy than that. I've kind of got almost perfect squares instead, but it's fine. Adding stenciling here, this is a Marry Me Small Art stencil and using Nouveau Embellishment Mousse in Black Ash. Just thought that was kind of an obvious colour to use with this paper. The white is a little bit strong, but I do tone it down a little bit, the white embossing powder that is. But yeah, I'm very much going with black, white and red. Oh, and then later, lots of gold for this page. Then once that stenciling was dry, I wanted to use the Fabrica Takuru stencil that came in my kit with like all the clock faces, and also use a new product which is the Nouveau Crackle mousse. This is in, I think it's Egyptian gold it's called. Now I need to do some more tests before I leave a fully negative review, but when this was dry, and I left it to dry for a few hours because it's one that doesn't crackle if you use a heat tool on it. I don't know if it's the gesso underneath or something, but unless the stenciling was really thin, it just fell off the page, like just fell off. So later on, when I was doing other things to this page, just even the heat tool was causing the big chunks of where I'd done that stenciling to just fly off. So yeah, I don't know. I need to do more tests, as I said, but I was not impressed with the fact that bits of it were coming off. But as I said, it might be the gesso underneath and that it doesn't get on with it, but if so, that's just really inconvenient because I use gesso on most projects. But I don't know. I don't want to say fully don't get it at the moment, but not happy so far. Anyway, to add a bit of colour here, I am using the Fabrica Takuru Magic Paint in red wine, and it's kind of, there's multiple ways you can use it. Here I'm using it kind of like a brush-o powder where I was just tipping little bits on and adding water and then just moving the paint around with my brush. It has the most beautiful shimmery metallic finish. doesn't show up that well on camera. Maybe you'll see it a little bit in the stills at the end. I'd already fussy cut a few bits from the paper pack to use, and then here I'm just going to fussy cut these little wings from the, oh, I've forgotten what it's called, it's the 13 Arts acetate, basically. They call it something else, but the acetate. And then I didn't think I was going to have enough embellishments to use, so I just thought I'd do the old stamp out some things, colour them, and then fussy cut them. So first off, I'm doing some butterflies and a little phrase from the Prima Finivere stamp set. Is it Don't Be Afraid to Fly? I did write it down. Oh, it's Don't Forget to Fly. Close enough. Anyway, yeah, stamping a few of those out, as well as the butterflies and a little phrase that says freedom is a state of mind. There were those little circles that had the Gothic font in, and I thought I could definitely incorporate those in some way. And then I also wanted some florals, more roses kind of things, and those stamps are from the Trimcraft V&A 2 collection. It's a stamp and die set. And I'm colouring those again with the Fabrica Decoro Magic paint. I'm doing it in a slightly different way this time, adding the pigment on my mixed media mat, adding some water, and then just kind of making a watercolour out of that. And then I'm also using a Lindy's Magical Shaker that is in Cathedral Pines Green. There it is mixed with the red. I didn't wash my brush off and made this kind of khaki colour, which I liked at the time, but changed my mind a little bit later. And then this is the true Cathedral Pines Green colour I'm using on these leaves here. You know, I actually washed off my brush that time. And then I thought I'd do the other butterflies in that same kind of, yeah, it's kind of a khaki colour, I suppose you could call it. Once I had dried that off and started fussy cutting, I decided I wasn't happy with the colour of those flowers. They were not a strong enough red. So I decided what I would do is put the pigment straight on to the card there, or the scrap of cardstock, and activate it with water just to have, as I said, a really, really, really strong colour. Move it around with a paintbrush just a little bit so it's not so patchy. And yeah, it's a much better colour, and you get way more of the shimmery metallic effect as well, which was kind of what I was going for. With all those bits cut out, I'd also gathered some flowers and other bits and pieces to use just from my stash. I'm just going to back my photo, which I've just realised I have not talked about. Photo of me in Brussels last year. It's in like a, I can't remember what it's called in French. It's like the Galerie du something. Just one of those really long, I don't even know what you would call it, kind of like it has shops either side, and it's like got quite gothic-y architecture and stuff. It's really beautiful, and me and my bestie, who I went with, took pictures of each other. And this is like pretty much one of the only full body pictures of me that I've ever liked. So yeah, I thought it would be nice to document with this. And I'm kind of, because I've got my, you can't really see in the picture, but I've got my knee-high DMs on that are black with red florals on, and it kind of goes with the whole gothic-y theme of this paper. But yeah, I just backed it with some kind of matching papers, ripped them up, and went around the edges with a gold ink. It's a Versacolor, I think, just a little mini 1-inch stamp pad. And yeah, I'm just propping that up on foam so it sticks up from all the busyness that's going on behind it. That piece I'm adding some gold ink to the edges of there is fussy cut from the Victoriana paper pack. I just wanted a little something sticking out behind the photo, and then I just spent some time fiddling with all my different embellishments and stuff, figuring out what I was going to put where. Very much decided against those butterflies. That khaki greenish colour was just not right at all. It made it kind of muddy, maybe is the word I'm looking for. I don't know, but it wasn't right at all. And I wasn't 100% happy with those roses either, but I thought I can just kind of use them as a base for the rest of the embellishments. So there's something there like going around that curve of the circle, but I'm not going to worry too much about getting upset about covering them up or anything. Here I'm just bundling up some gold metallic thread to just stick out behind my photo, adding another little gold element, and it kind of helps towards that sort of messy mixed media aesthetic, if you know the one I mean. Those flowers there I have just pulled out of my stash. I kind of put that green one on, to be honest, because of the butterflies, and then didn't use them, but I think it still works okay, especially towards the end, and you see how I sort of tie it all together. this was really the stage where I wasn't happy. I was like this close to giving up and just chucking it in the bin. As I said, I really wasn't happy. I was like, well, I'm just going to keep going for now and see where we end up. These little dark flowers I'm using here are from a pack from the range. I have loads of these. I've said it before, every time I see them in store, I just snap loads of them up. Thought I'd pop in those wings behind the photo there because they're kind of in the same direction as I'm sort of facing, if you know what I mean. So if the wings were on my back, then they would be there. I don't know if that makes any sense. With those little round things that I stamped, I think I'm going to do something with those eventually. These little bits I'm adding here are again fussy cut from the paper pack. But yeah, those little round things I stamped, and I haven't cut them out just yet. I thought I would get my epoxy stickers and make sort of fake flair with them. Now my epoxy stickers are 1 inch and that circle was smaller, maybe 0.75 of an inch, so I cut around it, and where there was the white edge I just covered that in the gold ink so you wouldn't get an awkward white edge to it. Thwap the epoxy sticker on top, and then yeah, you've got like little fake flair or something, and I'm just going to tuck those in and around all the flowers and stuff. All those flowers definitely needed something in the center of them, so I grabbed Nuvo Drops in. Have I written it down? I don't think I have, you know. Oh no, they're the Stone Drops in Gold Rush, and just going to put those in the center of each flower that, you know, doesn't already have a center. I just think it finishes them off. They look weird when they don't have one. I played around with some metal embellishments as well, seeing if I could bring those in, some chipboardy things. I was really struggling. I don't know why. I thought I'd use this little Freedom is a State of Mind thing that I stamped as a title, really, really roughed up the edges. That noise, if you heard that, was someone putting the smoke alarm back in because it went off when we were cooking dinner earlier. And yeah, I backed it with the same sort of things that I backed the photo, again with the gold ink. And I'm going to pop that sort of to the side of the photo, kind of as a really, really subtle title. I didn't want anything too big or in your face, but yeah, I was quite happy with that. Even though it's that green that I said I didn't like, I'm just a walking contradiction sometimes. Few of these stickers that I'm adding to the photo are the Victoriana stickers from 13 Arts, just a few cute little positive things, taking up some of the awkward blank space on the photo as well. And then I'm grabbing my Winsor & Newton drawing ink in gold and adding many, many, many gold splatters. And it was at this moment, almost, when I was like, I'm just going to brush a bit of gold onto these flowers and see how that works. And that was the moment where I was like, I think I fixed this layout. I think adding the gold to those flowers, and I also kind of paint it on a lot of the other embellishments as well. I don't know, it just like completely changed the layout in my eyes. It just, the smallest little thing made such a difference. It may not be making any difference to you watching this, but for me making it, yeah, it just completely finished it off and went from something I wasn't totally happy with to something I was like, yeah, this is okay. So adding more gold splatters as well, just because, yeah, I just wanted them absolutely everywhere. I then added just a couple of red ones. That's Heidi Swap Colour Shine in Cherry, mostly because I never really have an occasion to use red splatters, and I've had this ink forever and will probably continue to have it for even longer than that. So I just kind of, yeah, as I said, wanted the excuse to use it. I dried it first before I added my white splatters because I didn't want the white and the red mixing and to create pink because that would be bad on this layout. But yes, as I said, white splatters with Winsor & Newton ink, and the layout is complete. There we go. Thank you so much for watching. I will leave links to all the products used in the description box below. Let me know if you've done something like this, like not liked a project until the very end, if you've done something really tiny that's completely changed it for you or anything like that. I would love to know. But for now, I'm going to shut up and go. Thank you so much again. Bye bye!